Hey guys, we are in Spain today to ride this bike, the new Scrambler Ducati Icon. Now, the Scrambler Ducati has been in production since 2015 and this is the first major update. In fact, it's almost an all-new update to the Scrambler Ducati lineup. So we're about to take it for about a 150km ride, and in this video I want to tell you everything there is to know about the new Scrambler Ducati. Now, one thing that is interesting though is that Ducati has sold over 100,000 units of the Scrambler, meaning that it's actually a very popular bike. You might think I know there are some arguments saying that hey, it's too small, it's not a proper Ducati, there's not much performance to it, which is what Ducati ultimately stands for. But guys, 100,000 people disagree with you, and out of that 100,000, over 20% of buyers are said to be entirely new to the Ducati family, which means that the Scrambler Ducati is a very important model to Ducati in terms of sales. By selling the Scrambler Ducati, they can actually use this money to kind of develop its other performance models that we so love. But now though, let's focus on the Scrambler Ducati. It seems like just yesterday that Ducati introduced this bike, the Scrambler. In fact, it's been 8 years because Ducati first introduced the Scrambler back in 2015. And back then, there was an outrage of sorts among Ducatistas because they thought this cannot be an original Ducati. Especially among the younger ones, because the older Ducati fans will remember that Ducati actually made a Scrambler back in the 60s. The younger ones thought that Ducati equals performance equals sports bike. And they were not wrong though. But the Scrambler gave Ducati the necessary funding to continue developing. Why? Because since then, Ducati has actually sold over 100,000 Scramblers everywhere around the world. And what this means is that money to continue developing other models such as the Monster, the Panigales, the Diavels, the Multistradas, and also the necessary funding to build newer models such as the Desert X. But I'm not here to talk about the other models. I'm here to talk to you about this bike, the new Scrambler Ducati. But as usual, before we go any further, a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I'd just like to take you a couple of seconds to tell you about BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, because it's not like any other petrol out there, because it features advanced German additives that go into your engine, clean out deposits that have already formed from before, and if you continue using the Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, you're basically ensuring that your engine continuously runs clean. So not only that, it also comes with an advanced friction modifier that goes in, reduces the friction of your engine, ensuring that you get maximum power and maximum fuel efficiency. Besides that, it also comes with 90% reduced sulfur. 90% guys! So what this does is, it makes sure that your engine runs clean, and it's also great for the environment. So the next time you pour BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, know that you're making the right choice. So what is the new Scrambler Ducati? Well, actually to the untrained eye, it will just seem like just another Scrambler. Like there's no key updates to actually differentiate the new from the old. But there are some key visual updates. Guys, the biggest giveaway is the lack of the clutch cable. over here. Remember the previous Scrambler had a clutch cable that looped around? Well, it looked odd, but it was actually a nod to the old Scrambler from the 60s. Other than that though, there are some key visual updates such as a new exhaust pipe. I really like the way the exhaust sort of just seems to curve and disappear into the back. In fact, it just makes it seem like it's just going to disappear and maybe come out here or underneath the bike. But it has a visual play to your eyes, and it comes in and it goes down and comes back up here. Very clever, and it creates some visual drama. And yes, there are some Termignonis aftermarket exhaust available from the Scrambler, but even so, even by itself, it sounds really good already. So besides that though, there are some other updates as well, because over here you get this Mega X, which is basically the Scrambler logo, and if you turn it on, you'll notice the DRL LED daytime running lights. Talking about LEDs though, you get full LEDs everywhere. Even the turn signals are LEDs. So other than that, the other key visual updates are 9 new colors. Yes, 9 new colors. And the cool thing is, no matter what color that you buy, you can actually opt to change your color, because all of these colors that you're seeing around the bike, they are all interchangeable. So let's say your mood changes, but you really like your bike, you only have to go out and buy these plastic panels from Ducati. I'm not quite sure if Ducati Malaysia will actually sell you these, but I don't see why not. They are friendly guys anyway. But other than that though, the seat is new, and basically it has retained the overall friendliness, because this is a bike that introduces you to the wonderful world of Ducati superbikes. Ducati usually means performance, as I said earlier, so this can actually be quite intimidating. In fact, for many people that have the money and they want to buy a Ducati, a lot of them are afraid because they think that they can never handle a Ducati. But this is actually a bike that takes you into that world. In fact, over the 100,000 people that bought a Scrambler, over 20% of them are actually new to the Ducati to the Ducati world, and a lot of them will actually eventually trade up to another Ducati. See what Ducati is doing over here? So yes, this is one of those bikes that sucks you into the world of Ducati. That's not a bad thing. But other than that though, there are also some key visual updates, such as this 4.3-inch colored TFT screen, and I really like it. In fact, the only downside that I think could be better though is that it takes too long to actually start up. From the moment that you turn the key to the moment that it actually starts to display something, there's a lag of about between 4 to 5 seconds, which I think is a bit of a pity, because as soon as you start it up, you want it to start displaying, especially if you want to know which gear that you're in. And guys, that's right, it has a gear indicator, which the previous model did not. In fact, the earlier model even did not have a fuel gauge indicator. This basically has everything. So Ducati says 70% of the new bike, of the new Scrambler Ducati, is actually all new, which actually kind of means that you can call it an all-new Scrambler Ducati, but Ducati just calls it the next-gen Scrambler Ducati. Well, that's typical marketing lingo, but out of that 70%, 100% of that is the new electronic driver aids. The rest is basically the vehicle and some parts of the engine. The 100% of new electronic driver aids basically means that there is a new ride-by-wire throttle system that gives you access, because it's electronic, so Ducati can also add in things like traction control. You also get twin riding modes. Now you get Sport and Road, which you never got in the previous generation Scrambler. And then you also get things like traction control, and interestingly, you get cornering ABS. So 330mm disc up front, grabbed by a 4-piston Brembo caliper, which gives you cornering ABS. That lends this bike a level of safety never before seen in a Scrambler Ducati. So that's awesome. Now, other than that, the overall character of the bike has somewhat changed as well. Now let me get onto this bike and let me explain to you. Even though the frame of the bike is all new, it's a steel trellis frame. It's now split into two rather than one single frame as before. Now this actually adds to the weight saving of the bike because the bike is actually 4 kilograms lighter than before. Other than that though, notice that how I can actually stand up on this bike. That actually just means that the seat height from the floor is just 795 millimeters. Now this is a standard seat. If you opt for the taller ride height, you can go up to 810 millimeters, or if you opt for the lower seat height, the lower seat option, which I suspect might make it to Malaysia, it goes all the way down to 780 millimeters, which I think is just way too low because I'm about 178 centimeters tall, and even then I find this bike a little too small. But if you're vertically challenged, then I don't see why you wouldn't opt for the lower seat option. But besides that though, it's actually a very friendly bike to ride. There's a lot of new things about the new bike though, things such as a new gearbox cover. The split trellis frame actually includes a new swing arm at the back. The suspension is basically the same. You get Kayaba upside down shocks up front, 41 millimeters with 150 millimeters of travel. You also get a monoshock at the back from Kayaba, adjustable for preload and rebound. That also has 150 millimeters of travel. But besides that though, everything else, well, just adds to the friendliness of the bike. Talking about friendliness though, it might seem like it's really easy to ride, it may not, and that may make it seem a little bit boring, but it's far from boring, guys. The engine is the same 803cc Desmo Due engine, producing 73 horsepower and 65.2 Newton meters of torque. Now, that may not seem like much because that's the same amount of horsepower created as previously, but because you get twin riding modes now, it actually gives the bike a more of a gruntier feel, especially when you're riding it in sport mode. Now, keep in mind that the suspensions are not electronically adjustable. So when you choose your riding modes, it actually just messes with the sharpness of the throttle together with the electronic interference from the ABS and such. So when you ride in sport mode, it makes the bike feel more urgent. However, this also gives you more mid-range torque, which makes the new Scrambler Ducati feel a lot more eager than the previous generation model. The mid-range torque lets you cruise around town and in third and fourth gear, and you don't really need to downshift when you need to get going. And that's the beauty of the new Scrambler Ducati, that mid-range torque that gives makes this bike feel a lot easier to ride in urban conditions. I felt it today riding the bike here around the mountains of Valencia, as well as the town, the city of Valencia as well, which is basically what this bike is meant to do, conquer urban environments. Other than that though, I just like the friendliness that the bike has to offer. Yes, there are things about it that I do not quite like. I wish it was a little bit taller. This is the standard ride height, standard seat height. I wish I would have tried the 810 millimeters. Would probably make this bike feel a lot better over long distances. I rode this bike for 150 kilometers today. Yeah, got a sore bum after that. As you can see, the seat is actually not that thick. So I bet 810 millimeters will probably feel better. Then other than that, I also do think that the screen takes too long to turn on, and selecting the riding modes, well, it's the same for every Ducati, but if there was a dedicated ride mode selecting switch, I think that would just make it a lot easier. Right now, the entire process of selecting your ride mode, closing your throttle, waiting for it to kick in, takes about 5 to 8 seconds, which I think should just be a single button, close the throttle, and that's it. Maybe less than 5 seconds would be better. But besides that though, there's no doubting that the friendliness of the Scrambler Ducati has just been enhanced with the newer model, and this bike continues the tradition of the Scrambler Ducati by letting you explore or get into the wonderful world of Ducati superbikes without riding the intimidating bikes from perhaps the Monster or the Hypermotard. If you want something small and friendly to start with, then this is the bike for you. So what's new for the 2023 models? Well, basically, besides the 9 colors that I mentioned earlier, Ducati has also dropped other models. So right now you only get 3 models. You get the Night Shift, the Icon and the Full Throttle. You don't get the other models such as the Desert Sleigh or the 62. All of those has been dropped. Guys, the new Scrambler Ducati. Can't wait for it to be launched here in Malaysia. This is a first view. I'll tell you more once I get to ride it in Malaysia. Thank you for watching. I'm Cashier Dylan and this is Bikes Republic.